Are collector edition Magic cards finally going somewhere? Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel and you've just found me in the nacho cheese universe of YouTube, well, thanks a lot for deciding to check out my content today. I hope you guys have a blast while you're here. And if you did, remember, subscribe to the channel, join in the fun. It's free to subscribe. Turn on your notification bell as I have new content being uploaded daily for you guys to enjoy and participate in the conversations. We have a blast, okay? So don't forget, subscribe. You're going to help me get closer to 10,000 subscribers, which is where I hope to be. I mean, we just hit 7,500. I'm ecstatic. So I can't wait to see what happens when I get to 10K. It's going to be quite the party. And pay attention to that box in the background. The 10K box is important. You're going to have to find out why inside my videos. So always watch till the very end and you'll find out. So, I've had some questions, comments, and concerns lately about patrons and viewers and emails about Collector Edition, International Edition Magic the Gathering. Is it honestly a collectible? Is it worth money? Okay? So I'll go over some facts and figures today, but the short of this is, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought it was very collectible. I bought an entire set of the artifacts for like $200. That means all the Power 9. Right? That means Time Vault. All the art cards. Look, they're right. I have them sitting right here. I'll put them up in the video later. Right? I bought them really cheap so I could proxy them into other decks because people said they're not tournament legal. They're not real Magic cards. I've heard lots of people say that. I beg to differ. I don't care what Wizards' intended purpose was. They're the size of a Magic card. They have the picture of the Magic card. And they say Collector Edition, but they're a Magic card. So to me, I say they have value, and they'll continue to rise in value over the years. Now you can stop watching the video. You've got your information only 2 minutes into the video. You're good for the day. But if you want to stick around for the rest of this, let me explain why it's worth money. Let's go to slide number 1. The Collector's Edition Magic the Gathering was released December 10th, 1993. Approximately 9,000 sets were printed for the United States and Canada. That's called Collector Edition. And another 5,000 were printed for international release, the International Edition, or better known as ICE. The boxes retailed for $49.95. Each set was sold in a collector's box with 363 cards. This included one of each of the 302 cards in limited beta edition printing, plus an additional 61 basic land cards. These cards were separated into 6 plastic wrapped groups. The sorting and order of the cards related to the printing sheets and the sorting process used, which explains the rare islands. The faces are identical to the beta printing, but have square corners. The reverse side has gold borders around the edges and gold printing saying either Collector's Edition or International Edition. Now, being released in December 1993 on the 10th, that's a perfect time for Christmas shopping. For new players coming into the game, this was a great marketing idea. They had a good plan. They knew what they wanted to do. And remember, there's no reserve list. The reserve list didn't come around until 1996. So Wizards has this window in which to print these cards with no repercussions, and nobody knew where the game would go. It's like, any collector item. They thought, we're going to make these. People will like it. Some nostalgic value there, and $49.95, whatever. We're going to make some good money. That was probably the marketing at the time. They weren't owned by Hasbro yet. They're just Wizards of the Coast. Remember that. A new company getting things going. But they knew even back then they had no intention of allowing these to be used in tournament play. By this point, the game is getting popular, and they'd already put on the box, not for tournament play. So from the very beginning, these were not meant as Magic cards for tournaments. They were meant for probably casual play and enjoyment, and for collectors to have them sitting on a shelf. Makes perfect sense back then. Not so much nowadays. So here's a little extra information of what was going on. Originally, we were going to do 10,000 factory sets, and we announced it that way. But then sales started coming in and were way more than that. And then we started to see it take off in Europe. So we decided to print another 5,000 for distribution, primarily overseas, and call these International Edition. Originally, we intended to sell Collector's Edition ones only in the US and Canada, and the International only overseas. But then the printer shorted us nearly 10% of the print run, nearly 1,000 less than we had ordered on the Collector Edition cards. And as I said, we already had orders way more than 10,000. So basically to begin with, guys, they were shorted. People got really mad and they wanted them. So they had to substitute some with International Edition. Now, over time, a vast majority of the sets have been opened for various reasons, such as to play, storage, card binders to look at, or individual sale. Some of the cards, especially the ones representing the Power 9, have been made into counterfeits, usually by rounding the corners and either rebacking them carefully by scraping off the gold layer. This is the way I'm looking at this set right now. 14,000. 9,000 plus 5 is 14,000 sets made. I don't care if they're International Edition or Collector Edition. 14,000 sets made. That's all there is. That's all there ever will be of this collectible. I know many friends who play with these cards inside decks. They are very sensitive. The gold layer can easily come off over time just by the slightest little bit of rubbing. So finding near mint condition that are not still factory sealed is very difficult, and you're in for a hard time if you try to find them. But let's go to the second part of that. They were rebacked. So Power 9 were rebacked. They were torn apart, disintegrated, shaved off, cornered, cut, everything sliced and diced. Here's some pictures. Take a look at these. So when people were doing rebacks back in the day, they would take the back of a beta common card, something cheap. Then they would take the Collector Edition card front, peel off one section of each of them, the back for the beta, the front for the Collector Edition, and seal them back together. You can see this card went through a bend test and it failed horribly. But in most cases, a strong light with the glue will show that it's uneven gluing, which of course means it's going to fail. There's lots of ways of doing this without totally destroying the card, but there were a lot of rebacks back in the day. Some of these are probably slabs to this day because they probably got in through PSA before it was widely recognized how manipulated some of these cards could be by professionals who got very good at doing this. They would try it on common cards. They would try it on regular cards that didn't cost anything. That's where they would experiment. And you can see from these pictures right here, the rebacked beta versus a real beta. You see the light coming through? Well, I'm going to show you in the next little bit of my video is what it really looks like under a light. I'll show you two of my Moxes that I traded so much for as a teenager, which are probably just rebacked cards that from Collector Edition. But in a small town, we didn't know any better, and that's why it led us to where we are today. I keep them as a reminder of what not to do. It's one of those good things in your life. You're like, I turned a negative into a positive. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that video clip. To give you an idea on the attrition rate we're talking about for near mint copies or like lightly played, take a look at a simple card like Unholy Strength, right? This is an International Edition, but if you look at the corners, you should see there's just a little bit of white showing on your screens at home in each corner. And that's from just barely being touched inside of a sleeve, but that's what happens. And other cards that look mint with no white spots in the corners, you're like, wow, that's awesome. You have a near mint copy. No. These edging pieces right here, when you're seeing, if you look carefully in the light, I don't know if I can bring it up close enough to show you guys, but the grime starts to build and dirt starts to get in there and it marks up the edges. So you have to be really careful how you handle these. I almost always double sleeve. Now, when we get to fake stuff, bad proxy ones where they butchered it, right? You look at this beautiful, beautiful card, right? You're like, oh wow, man, that's a beta. Yeah. Beta, yeah. Let's get a light on this. So turn it over now. Can you notice anything? Can you see through that card like the images I showed you in the pictures? That's right. This guy is just like some of the pictures I'll show you. It is a reback. It is done like dinner. It has been destroyed. Nothing you can do about it. And this is before we knew about that. So as a teenager, you kind of just went along with it. And that cost me a whole bunch of dual lands. That's all I can tell you. Now these ones, and in this case, has clipped corners. So somebody's gone ahead and rounded the corners there. See how it bends? They've rounded all the corners off to make this look like an alpha when it's inside a sleeve. That is damaging the card technically, which is another form of attrition a lot of these cards went through. So finding a proper, near mint condition, Collector Edition or International is that much harder. And when they're that much harder, they become worth that much more money. I have never sold any of my Collector Edition Power because I actually believe they'll continue to rise and go a lot higher. I just can see it happening. So I'm not going to sell my stuff. Remember, purely entertainment purposes only, but I'm not going anywhere. Now, when we look at, let's say, Black Lotus, this one is lightly played. It's almost perfect in the corners, but I did go about a year in just one sleeve before I realized. And then I realized how much this was worth, which was like $500 back then when I decided to sleeve it. Because I bought them all for like $230, the complete set of the artifacts. I didn't think much of it until somebody told me it was worth a lot. Now these two, when you're taking a look at both these bad boys, one has clipped corners. See? They clipped the corners and the sides, right? Beautiful, beautiful international edition that has been destroyed to make it look like a beta. And in a sleeve, it does. But then you see the back, which means this card is also damaged. And what can you say? There's just one less Time Walk from Collector Edition in near mint shape. Now this last one here I'm going to show you guys. You can see right here, this bad boy, double sleeved, near mint corners. I was very careful doing this one because Time Walk, of course, is my favorite stuff from Amy Weber. And I love it. So I took care of it. I didn't let it get messed up. Now let me just cut back to the main camera. So after seeing those clipped corners, destroyed, rebacked cards, some in near mint, some with lines, some with dirt, how many are really out there, do you think? That's just a little collection I have. There's a lot of people out there who have little smatterings of collector edition here or there, or a little bit of international edition. But as time goes on, the value will continue to rise. It's a proven point when cards used to be $230 for an entire set. They came out at $49.95. Can you find those prices now? No, because they're collectible and they're worth what somebody is willing to pay. And apparently from the sales figures I'm seeing, people are willing to pay quite a bit to get their hands on these particular cards. And with these rates of destruction, rebacking, and just overall, we never cared. We just wanted to play and have some fun. We thought it was just a collectible to kind of keep around. Yeah, I think we're going to see these prices go up a lot more over the years. So if you have Power 9 or any of the old collector edition cards, international edition cards in good shape, would I sell them? No. I would add them to your collection, build your position, and hold the line because I believe the years are going to be very generous to the collector edition, international edition cards. There's just not a lot out there. And die-hard collectors of this kind of stuff are going to keep wanting to get it. And those who have beat up copies want to get better copies. So those people seeking those cards out, they'll be willing to pay the price to get them. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone, today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it informative. Please make sure you put some comments in the comment section below. Put a boomstick in there if you made it to the end of the video so I know you're one of those special people. All right, guys, have a great day today. Collector Edition, International Edition. Who knew? Look at the prices. It's everything you need to know. And of course, a big shout out goes out to each and every one of the fantastic patrons on my channel. Thank you again for all your continued support. I literally could not keep the lights on without you guys. So thanks again for being supporters of the channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the Sunday live stream. Well, we're at the end of the video here. I saw today I'm at 7,500 subscribers. I put up the Patreon. I put on the Instagram. I put on the Discord. I was all like, yeah. But now I'm like, we got to move on. The pizza party live stream will happen. I can't wait to see you guys all there. I'm just going to sit here and eat pizza, but that's okay because you're special and you made it to the end. Not Lego the special, but close enough to the special. And then I realized we have to go onward. We have to keep pushing. We got to get to that 10K so we can find out what's in that box. I know. I'm as curious as you guys are at this point. We're going to have a blast, though, I can tell you that much. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Have a fantastic day today. And I can't wait to see you guys. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be wicked.